Imagine this. You're sitting in a courtroom, divorce papers in front of you, and your soon-to-be ex is laughing, thinking he's won. But what if I told you that one simple moment completely flipped the script? One number that left him speechless and changed everything. Stay tuned, because what happened next is something you won't believe, and it'll make you rethink everything about the power of silence and strategy. You don't want to miss this. It was a bright, sunny afternoon when my world turned upside down. The courtroom, with its cold walls and sterile atmosphere, felt more like a prison than a place where decisions about my life were being made. I sat there, anxiously, waiting for the final moment. My husband, Alex, was across the room, a pen in hand, about to sign the divorce papers. The moment felt surreal, almost like a scene from a movie, but it was very much my reality. Alex, with his usual smug grin, didn't seem to care at all. In fact, he chuckled to himself, almost mocking the gravity of what was about to happen. He was ready to leave me behind, thinking he was the one walking away with the better deal. For 5 years, we had been together, and while there were some good moments, the relationship had been fractured for quite some time. The cracks had been forming slowly, like cracks in a glass that you can't quite see until it shatters. I had worked tirelessly to maintain our home, to keep things in order, while Alex spent most of his time chasing after his career, his ambitions, and, frankly, his own ego. Over the years, it became increasingly clear that my needs were secondary to his. My dreams, my passions, everything seemed insignificant to him. I had always been the one who took a step back, putting his needs before mine. I sacrificed my time, my energy, and even my own happiness just to keep the peace and ensure he was content. But with every passing day, it became more evident that he never truly appreciated what I had done. To him, I was just another fixture in his life, someone who didn't matter as much as his career or his social status. And now, here we were, standing at the final point of no return, facing the end of a chapter one had invested so much of myself in. As Alex signed the divorce papers, there was no hint of regret in his demeanor. He seemed almost relieved, like he was signing off on a chapter he'd been itching to close. His confidence radiated from him, and that smug smile, one I had seen so many times before, was firmly in place. He made no effort to hide the fact that he saw me as nothing more than a mere inconvenience in his life, someone who had outlived her purpose. He leaned back in his chair, cracking jokes with the lawyer, as if this was just another mundane task on his to-do list. He laughed casually, making light of the situation, while I sat there in silence, feeling a mixture of anger and disbelief bubbling up inside me. It was as if he had no idea the weight of what he was doing. The lawyer glanced at him one last time, as if making sure he understood the gravity of what was happening. "Are you sure you want to go through with this?" he asked, his tone professional, almost cautious. Alex, without missing a beat, waved him off with a dismissive laugh. "Oh, it's fine," he said. "I just want my freedom." But what he didn't know, what he hadn't even considered, was that the tables were about to turn. He thought that all he had to do was sign the papers and walk out the door, leaving me behind to pick up the pieces. Little did he know I wasn't the one who was going to get hurt. The truth was, I had been quietly preparing for this moment, and I wasn't the one who would end up losing everything. As the judge continued reading through the usual proceedings, I sat there, my heart pounding in my chest. I had prepared for this moment, running the words through my mind over and over, but now that it was here, I still couldn't predict what would come next. The courtroom felt unnervingly silent, the air thick with tension. Then, unexpectedly, the judge turned to me, his voice calm but firm. "Is there anything you'd like to add, ma'am?" My stomach flipped. This was my moment, and I had to make it count. With a steady breath, I rose to my feet, my voice clear and deliberate as I responded, "Yes, Your Honor. There is one thing that I believe Alex should know." The room seemed to hold its breath as I spoke, every word heavy with meaning. I glanced over at Alex, who had already begun packing his things, clearly under the impression that the battle was over. His smug grin was still there, like a mask he wore to shield himself from the weight of the situation. He was so sure that he was walking away victorious that he didn't even bother to listen closely. But I wasn't finished. I paused for a moment, looking him directly in the eyes, watching as the smugness on his face started to waver. He shifted uncomfortably in his seat, the realization slowly dawning on him that something wasn't right. His confidence was beginning to falter, but he wasn't ready to admit it yet. "I've worked hard for everything I have," I continued, my voice unwavering. "And though I didn't always show it, I've made some decisions in my life that will affect us both today." I could see the wheels turning in his mind, but he still couldn't grasp what was coming. The tension in the air was palpable, and the judge, who had remained silent until now, simply waited for me to continue. The judge, after a brief pause, glanced down at the papers with an almost detached air, seemingly unaffected by the weight of what I had just said. There was no immediate reaction, but then, with a calm that felt almost too deliberate, he finally spoke the words that would shake Alex to his core. "Your Honor," I began, my voice firm, "I would like to present the financial details." I could feel the tension in the room build as the lawyer handed the bank statement to the judge. The document, which held the key to the truth Alex had yet to discover, was now in the judge's hands. He unfolded it slowly, and the sound of the paper rustling was the only noise breaking the silence. The judge cleared his throat before beginning to read aloud, his voice steady yet carrying a weight of authority. "In the course of your marriage, Mrs. Your Name has accumulated savings and investments that amount to a sum far exceeding what your client likely expected." I could feel Alex's confidence begin to crack. His posture, once relaxed and assured, stiffened as he tried to read the judge's expression. I could see his face gradually losing color, the faintest signs of panic creeping in. The figures, which had been just numbers to him moments ago, were now becoming a harsh reality. This wasn't just a game anymore. The judge didn't pause. He continued, "In fact, Mrs. Your Name, you have a bank balance of over $1 million. The room fell into an eerie silence. Alex's once smug grin completely faded, replaced by an expression of utter shock. His face had turned pale, his eyes wide with disbelief. He shifted uneasily in his seat, his hands trembling slightly as he tried to process the revelation. His whole world had shifted in that one moment, and it was clear from the way he fidgeted that he had no idea how to handle this new reality. Alex had walked into this divorce believing he was the one who would come out on top. After all, I was the one who had sacrificed so much, staying at home, managing the house, making sure everything ran smoothly behind the scenes while he focused on his career. He had no idea the extent of the work I had quietly put in on my own, the investments I made on the side, or the savings I had built up for my future. All of that, hidden beneath the surface, was something he had never noticed, something he never thought would matter. But as the judge read out the figures, the truth became painfully clear to Alex. The one who had thought he would walk away with the better deal was now facing the reality that he hadn't outsmarted me at all. In fact, it was the other way around. This divorce wasn't just about separating assets. It was my moment of redemption. I had worked hard, silently, for years, and now I was reaping the rewards of that quiet determination. I looked at Alex, and I saw the realization hit him like a wave. His face, once full of smug confidence, was now a mask of shock and disbelief. He wasn't laughing anymore. He was speechless, frozen in his seat, as the weight of the situation settled in. This wasn't just about money, it was about reclaiming my power, my strength, my life. The divorce wasn't about who had the most money. It was about regaining control of my future. And that, in the end, was worth far more than any bank balance ever could be. Wow, what a twist, right? If you were as shocked as I was, then you're definitely part of the Black Visionaries family. If you haven't already, subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story that'll make you rethink everything. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, comment your thoughts. I love hearing from you, and share it with someone who needs to hear this jaw-dropping tale. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Welcome to the family, and remember, sometimes life's biggest lessons come when you least expect them. Stay tuned for more.